Today, I'm going to be doing a quick test of Alibaba's new Qwen QwQ-32B preview model. Now, Qwen is a family of LLM models from Alibaba, and QwQ-32B preview is their newest and I suppose most exciting model because, well, it is the newest. Now, there's a bit of the model on here on the Hugging Face from Qwen themselves or Alibaba for the actual model. However, for my purposes, I am using Bartowski's quantized EXL2 variant of this, which if we scroll down here, we can see that we have a few different branches available. For my purposes, I am actually using the 8-bit quantization branch, which is the largest and most intensive to run. However, as we can see here referenced in the description, it is the maximum quality producible by Xllama v2, generally unneeded, but maximum performance. And unnecessary performance is something I'm into. So with that said, I do have this model loaded up here in the Ubabuga text generation web UI. We can see here it is set to auto split. The max sequence length I have done nothing to. GPU split is set to 2420. Now you can see that card 1 here is only currently using 15 gigabytes of video RAM. Card 2 is pretty much tapping its limit, and I attribute that to that I am also running OBS right now, which just adds a bit of overhead to card 0, and I couldn't find a way to get it to use card 1 instead. So we'll just run with this and see how it goes. Now, I have the model loaded here, and quickly to touch upon for those of us who are interested in running these things ourselves, if I were to go in here, and in the text generation web UI, it is quite simple because you just drag your models into the models folder and then you can access them from the model tab where you would then go ahead and load it. And for QwQ-32B preview, I opened the generation config and I just set all of these to what they say to be right here. And that is simply all I have done in order to play with this. And I set max new tokens to 2048 so it doesn't ramble on too long. Now, here we have it, and I'm just going to use my Python testing prompt. All right, and we're just going to generate it here, and we'll be able to see our token speed, and we can kind of get our first look at interacting with Qwen QwQ. So what we can see is that this model is almost doing a bit of reasoning, which has become the very popular catchphrase and thing that LLMs are doing right now. So essentially they think before they act, which is interesting and apparently based off of lots of studies and things and personal experiences people have had is a way to make them seemingly more intelligent. So we can see here that it has reason. Let's just quickly go through this reasoning real quick. Without requiring an interesting challenge. Synthwave is known for its neon aesthetics, retro-futuristic themes, and electronic music, which can be visually and audibly rich. We need to get creative because we don't want to use a lot of external packages. It's considering what components we're going to need. Starts with graphics, sound, and game mechanics. Given these points, here's a plan. We use the turtle module, can be used for simple graphics. Interesting, so it's going real simple. Now, when I tested this with O1 Preview, GPT, OpenAI, and the new Google Gemini experimental model that I had done a video on, they both opted to use Pygame, so this is interesting. This is automatically going and adding sound, which is interesting, and cross-platform compatibility. Since you prefer minimal libraries, stick with WinSound. Okay, so we're gonna need some Python, but here we go. I mean, some Ubuntu. Here's a very high level output of how the code might look. Okay, now it didn't really, oh, so it's showing itself a high level output of the code, then adding in some more considerations. So let's see. It's giving itself next steps, and then I'm assuming that this is the actual. Now before I play this, so we're just asking it, hey, I'm using Linux. I would like you to tell me what to do and make sure that everything will work. So it's changing WinSound to beep. And it is doing like a Claude-like thing I've noticed where it's just like, here's the updated snippet, but I'm not going to regenerate the entire thing, which is depending on how you look at it, can be good or bad. Good because you learn more when you actually have to go and make the code malleable and perform different like surgeries on sections of it, but also can kind of be, oh, okay, so now it seems to be outputting the entire solution. All right, we'll just let this run and then we'll open this up and see if it works. Now that this is kind of ready to go, I'm just going to make a new conda environment to be testing this in, and we'll see what it did. And now that that's done, we should be ready to go ahead and put this script into Visual Studio Code. I will select my conda environment that I just made so that our imports are there. And then we'll save this. And we'll go ahead and we'll just see what happens. Oh, so how do I don't actually, let me see, I don't hear any sound. Oh no, sorry, that was the Ubuntu system. Now I'm not actually quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing here, but, so okay, on initial notice it did title the window properly, which is always nice. And these, I would assume the pinks are opponents of some sort that I'm supposed to be avoiding, or let's see if I hit one. Oh, okay. That just gave me like Polybius vibes, which is an interesting thing. You should look it up, even if it's all fake, it's cool. But, okay, so what exactly is the point of this game? Is my... Okay, so, that seems to make a little more sense, is that the beep is not working. So I believe that when the beep was going to be played, when I had a collision with one of the enemies, it crashed, which makes a little more sense. So, okay, I am going to, all right, and it is not generating at all right now. Let's see. Did we get an error? Yes, okay, out of memory. So that is pretty much my own fault. I'm going to go ahead and restart this and stop the OBS. All right, so the reason that the script had closed abruptly before was there was an issue with the sound implementation in the script. So I am just having this rewrite it with the simple audio library, and I'm actually having it just help me troubleshoot some issues I'm having. And it does seem to be doing a rather good job at this, especially for something I have to remind myself while doing this that I am not actually testing a new frontier model from a paid service provider a la Google, Gemini, or OpenAI 01 Preview or something like that. So overall, this does seem rather impressive and fairly usable for someone. Now I am using the 8-bit quant, which unless you have two 24 gigabyte cards, you're not really going to be able to use, but apparently there is not a huge quality difference between this and the 6.5 or the 5. So that, and the 5 is usable on 24 gigabytes. So if you have a single 24 gig card, you can do that, or two 12s, which I should try. So I am now going to test this script once more, and I'm not opening VS Code because I'll get another out of memory error having OBS open with this. So we're just going to do it in Nano. And then I will just do the way they, okay, so we're just having some more audio issues. And to be honest with you, I think this is actually a good test of the model because I do believe a lot of people, myself sometimes perhaps included, do use the LLMs for stuff like this, where error, copy, paste, fix error for me, tell me what to do. So, and it is giving me a solution. And the output and arrangement of the actual aesthetics of the solution output and the code and the way it actually puts these in blocks is really nice. I'm impressed with this so far. I really am. This is quite usable for somebody to augment their work or efficiency or something of that sort. And you can see it's just generating the new script over again, and we can see that windows are very laggy because of the memory that's going on here. So, and it's generating. So, all right, that's good enough. Thank you. So we'll paste, and we'll try this one more time. So as I was, do I have to start moving before they do? Oh. They are moving, it's just so incredibly laggy, and I'm not gonna, okay, well, I'm not going to attribute that necessarily to the script, because I think my system is like pretty tapped out right now. So it was playing music and it did work. Now, the one thing I think is super cool that I was saying before and I got cut off, the way that it actually spawns them is awesome. That really is just graphically impressive considering the limitations that I did give it. So I have to say, rather impressed with that. This was kind of just a quick little Python test of this. Now, let's see how it does in non-coding scenarios. So maybe let's try like some role play. I know this is weird, but people want to see how these models work aside from just, can it spell strawberry? Like, come on, you know? So, let's see. It was shut down instantly. Yep, so no, all right, so this thing's like talking to a brick wall trying to get it to do anything. Let's see if it'll help me with some hacking. Well, it was interesting that it said no and then was like, web is considered insecure and has known vulnerabilities. Nope. All right, so it is pretty locked down. Okay, but it's giving me general issues. Neither do past chats. Ooh, what a big beefy LLM. Well, that was just a quick test of Qwen QwQ-32B. I don't even know if that's specifically named Qwen, but Alibaba QwQ-32B. I have to say, I was really quite impressed with this model. And the reason I say that is because while I was testing it here, I was sort of laying out the expectations for it that I have when I'm using a paid model from, say, OpenAI or Gemini, and thinking like, oh, well, why didn't it get this right? These other ones can. Then I remembered like, wait, this is a 32 billion parameter model that I am running locally on my machine. This is not a paid subscription model. So overall, I would definitely urge people to test this out themselves. There are specific quantizations of this that can allow it to run on much simpler hardware that does not necessitate having north of 24 gigabytes of video RAM. And definitely an interesting release and worthy of some attention.